So, this is a new series. Look, I'm at that point of winter where I'm so depleted of vitamin D that the fact that I can haul my pallid husk in front of a bloody camera is a miracle. Thank God for the energising power of tea and bloody-mindedness. Oh, and that whole 2-year gap without a video thing? Well, it's a long bloody story, but let's just say it was down to a fairly big news event that happened. Oh, and that I'm congenitally lazy. So, with that apathetic mea culpa out of the way, I give you... February. Is there truly any grimmer month in the year? And if anyone from the Southern Hemisphere is watching this, replace February with September or something. Banks of cloud roll in around November, then stay there until sometime in March. Walk around any Northern Hemisphere city in February, and it looks like the population has been swapped out for hollow-eyed ghouls. I mean, it looks the same in July too, except that we're drinking outside. But, as internet telly is truly an American medium, I should pretend I'm not at the end of my tether, grin inanely and try not to let any of the cracks show. So in that spirit, here's a look at how many games I played last month. There are some of you that may snort derisively at the number of plays I've had this month, but in my defence, a fair amount of time is spent staring into the abyss, so that leaves limited time for gaming. Saying that though, February hasn't been bad. I've had 25 plays of 18 different games, with only 7 of them being new to me. I always lament that I don't play games enough, so I pulled some out of the vault, and I've been reminded why I fell into this hobby in the first place. There are so many great games out there, and these games that I first placed on the table are still as invigorating today as they were when I was only approaching middle age, not resentfully ensconced in it. Not all of these made my top 5 or honourable mentions, so I'll talk about them briefly here. City of Horror is still as mean and hilarious as I remember it. Mechanically economical, it leverages above-table interaction as well as any game I know. Play this one if you want a real zombie experience because, as we know, the zombies are just catalysts to reveal how animalistic humans really are, and this models that wonderfully. Arkham Horror LCG is by far the best Lovecraft game out there. Mean and tense, it tells a great story and leverages the humble card in so many unique and innovative ways. It's games like this that make me lament that Fantasy Flight, a company that introduced me to the magic of this hobby, is basically a walking corpse at this point. But their legacy is huge, so there is that. This tug-of-war game is so much fun. Paolo Mori is the king of lightweight games that deliver profound experiences. From the first moment I played this game nearly a decade ago, I was in love. It's a guaranteed riot every time. That it hasn't had an expansion or a reprint is a crime. Get it done. These are some games that didn't quite make the list, but are fascinating designs. And, as with everything I talk about in this video, if you think my views are total guff, there's a comment section below. Just make sure that if you're going to be a bellend, at least be a funny one. Mosaic is a by-the-numbers Civ game that even at 3 goes a bit too long, but in spite of these considerations, I really enjoyed it. At first, it feels willfully simple, just a list of actions that you choose from and repeat, but as those repetitions layer upon each other, the game develops into a knotty puzzle that has you scrabbling for the most advantageous locales by the end. The importance of controlling regions slowly reveals itself and, after the first play, leaves you rueing early mistakes made. This is a game that leaves you in no doubt what you did wrong and so compels you to put it on the table again. Also, the arc of the game is beautifully wrought, with actions generating more import as the game goes on, and buildings that seemed ludicrous to build at the beginning being imminently buildable by the end. There are better Civ games out there, but Mosaic might be a great way to introduce the genre. I've played Scout a lot since it came out. In the Berlin game scene, it's very much the card game du jour, and with some reason. It's bloody great. It has the languid casualness of a good card game while having moments of tension and glory. Card games offer a particular type of tension, waiting for the others to take their turns and hoping against hope that they don't mess with your plans. And when, that one time in 100, your plans come off, the rush is palpable. But that's not what card games are about. The real crunch and joy in card games comes with their unremitting tacticality. Always having to pivot and revise your plans. This is where the mental challenge of a good card game lives, and there's loads of this challenge in Scout. Don't listen to the people who tell you that Scout is a trick taker though. It isn't. Nyet certainly is. Played in two phases, the first is where you decide on the rules for the upcoming round, and the second is where you actually play the game. The first round is no mere act of admin though. Your choices give valuable information to your opponent, telling them the strengths and weaknesses of your hand. Then you're forced into the most agonising of decisions, forming a temporary alliance with one of your opponents and playing as a team. So few games do team play well, but this is a winner, and it's a tragedy I haven't played it in so long. Final Girl proves that onanism in gaming can be fun too. I like to play solo occasionally, and this one is of the top tier. They understand their tropes and deploy them brilliantly. My biggest fear in solo games is that I get the rules wrong and the game falls flat because of it. Final Girl, though, is an intuitive experience that expertly guides you through the game, and by the end, you're navigating each phase with ease. Rules need to melt away to deliver an immersive time, and Final Girl's rules soon sublime into tension and fun. You might not be a solo player, but give Final Girl a try. It's worth it. February has been a month of older games, and Bus is a pensioner in hobby game terms. It's one of those rock-hard pensioners, though, that'll give you a good clip around the ankles with its walking stick. Published in 1999, it still manages to shock with its innovativeness and delight with its meanness. This is one of the meanest 60 minutes you'll ever spend. It still surprises me that game designers can deliver so much enjoyment out of a theme that seems willfully bland. Do not be fooled by the fact that you're planning bus routes though. What you're actually doing is shattering the aspirations of your opponents and taking sadistic glee in it. It's games like Bus that give you an insight into why the Splotter guys are so well regarded in the hobby. Bus feels like nothing else you've ever played. The rules are incredibly simple. Place one of your ever-diminishing action markers on a space, then resolve it. These spaces will let you expand your bus network, pick up passengers and drop them off, and as the game reveals itself, it will leave you fuming at the other people around the table. I play a lot of games that allow you to grow your own garden and not really be concerned with the other players, but with Bus, points are at such a premium that denying them to others becomes as important as winning them yourself. There is so much strategic and tactical depth here, and all of this in under an hour. Also, it's peppered with the sardonic humour that the Splotter guys are known for, positing a life that is simply working, drinking and sleeping, a delightful cynicism in an art form that's often dry economics or power fantasies. If you don't like being in open warfare with your friends though, then this game might not be for you. But if you understand that conflict is drama, then hop onto Bus's stage and play for all your might. With the current climate of bourgeois politeness and the resulting blandness that trots along after it, it would be easy to think that games are these pleasant distractions that don't really reflect the biting venal animals that we really are. The early 2000s understood this, and from the kind of ethos that brought you Bus comes another game about vicious interaction, and that's Reef Encounter. The pastel art and gentle natural theme lulls you into thinking that this is a polite tile-laying experience. Then the bastard across the table eats most of what you've built and steals the rest, and the die has been cast. Look up restrained polite Englishman in any encyclopedia and you'll likely find a picture of the designer of Reef Encounter, Richard Breeze. In this game, though, he reaches into his black Hobbesian heart and produces a game that is indeed nasty, brutish and short, but also brilliantly engineered and loads of fun. This is a classic game in the style of the golden age of the 90s and 2000s. The rules are unobtrusive and bitingly original, but uncover a depth that rivals the Marianas Trench. There is no let-up in this game, but you come out invigorated and ready for revenge. The natural world is a bastard, and you'll need to be one to come out victorious in Reef Encounter. I love games that allow me to use my big mouth. I have a tiny brain, but my mouth more than makes up for it. Corrupt Parliament presents a future where all of our desires, base or divine, are sold for profit, and we are the mercenary bastards that profit the most. The government. We're in a rough time for satire at the moment, as irony and humour are stripped from our discourse, and Corrupt Parliament reminds us of the anarchic joy of good satire. This is a negotiation game in which we are politicians trying to leverage our insider knowledge and innate proclivity for corruption to feather our own nests. This is modelled by a series of votes that we have to negotiate support for. Pass the laws that benefit us and we win. Don't shout loud enough though, don't bribe enough though, don't exert enough pressure though, and you sink without trace. This game is mechanically perfect for its theme and backs this up with delightfully uncanny Google translations that evoke the newspeak of the corporate future. This game is a riot, but not for the faint of heart or the small of lung. It is a certainty at this point that if you get Reiner Knizia to tackle a well-known board game trope, he'll make some simple twist that, on the surface of it, seems inconsequential, but ends up blowing your mind. Voodoo Prince is no exception. You are forcibly ejected out of the round after you've won 3 tricks, but win points equal to the number of tricks that have been won at the whole table. The earlier you go out of the round, the fewer points you'll score, but, and this is the Knizia twist, if you are the last to go out, you only score for the tricks in front of you. This means that your game is delicately balanced on the edge of glory or disaster. Go out too early and you leave points on the table. Go out too late and you barely score anything. You have to try and anticipate what the other people around the table are doing to ensure you can go out when you want. But card games rarely offer that kind of control. This is such a canny game, and so simple, but offers such agonising decisions. Knizia is a man who understands the kind of dilemmas that well-deployed game mechanisms can propose, and Voodoo Prince is full of them. Courage can so quickly turn to folly in this game, and this is its joy. Play this one if you get the chance. Why wouldn't we want to escape into a world where good and evil are easily delineated and life is a struggle against some true malign force, not the prosaic compromises of reality? This is why Tolkien's world is so appealing to us. It's so unreflective of the world as it really is. It is unvarnished wish fulfillment, and taking a holiday in a world where we know where we stand is such a relief. This is why I turn to Tolkien so much. Not to deny the messy grayscale of morality, just to opt out of it for the time it takes to read a chapter or watch a movie. There is no shame in this, and any new medium that allows me to dive into Tolkien's world afresh is going to be instantly interesting to me. This is why I was hugely excited for War of the Ring, the card game. I legged it to Ares' booth at Essen on that first day, and as I walked away tucking the box into my rucksack, I hoped with all of my blackened and withered heart that it wouldn't be a disappointment. Thank God it wasn't. This game has everything I want from a ludological Tolkien experience. The theme leaps out through the mechanisms. The back and forth across the table is engaging and tense. The shadow side have all the resources at their disposal and build up intimidating forces, but the free peoples have moments of courage and power that can turn the tide. This game is not quite up to the standard of its older brother, but it gives it a run for its money, and War of the Ring, the card game, manages to do something magical. It offers a truly viable team experience. I will always play this game at 4 with 2 on each team. It offers so much cooperation between teammates and so many moments where you can swoop in and save your beleaguered colleague at the last minute. It doesn't offer as short as an experience as I thought at first, But it's really satisfying and exciting and engrossing, and it's already leapt into my top 50. So there we are, my first video in years. Let me know what you think in the comments, subscribe if you haven't, and I do have a Patreon if you want to help support the channel. Thanks for watching, and now I'm going to hide in bed until the sun decides to come out.